welcome. This is Ashley and Sean, and you're listening to The Conflict Compass. We're here to explore the challenges of conflict and the strategies that bring people together. Today, we have a special guest, Brenna Furness, who will share their insights and experiences. Thanks for joining us. Let's get started. Hello, Brenna. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really well, thank you. I'm excited that it's almost spring. Lots of sunshine.
I have a couple questions. Can you explain what CRI, Conflict Resolution Institute, does and its core mission?
I'd be happy to do that. So Conflict Resolution Institute is a community mediation center. So we train people how to be mediators, and we also mediate through a variety of different programs I can talk about. That is how we live out our core purpose, which is to empower community members to resolve conflict for a just and peaceful outcome. So in doing so, we help create a more empathetic community that values relationships, respects differences, and accords dignity to all. So that really is our purpose, and we have a variety of programs by which we live that out.
Thank you. Can you please explain the benefits of individuals taking this training? And what kind of training does CRI provide?
So CRI provides a conflict resolution training. We actually call it conflict resolution and mediation skills training. That's probably the biggest training that we offer for participants. There's many benefits to taking it. Certainly, if you're looking to become a mediator, if you're looking to get some experience under your belt. However, not all of our participants are going to go hang out their own shingle and be a mediator. Perhaps they're going to use these skills in their current professions, or they're trying to, transfer from one profession into another, and they want to boost their communication skills or their conflict resolution skills. That's another way that this training can boost an individual's resume or skill set, if you will. The other kinds of trainings that we do are really around sort of conflict resolution, but we have been known to do peer mediation training, and that training is specifically geared towards students who are in middle school and high school. And I think grades 7th through 12th. So we do train students how to be peer mediators at their school. So it's students helping students. So that's another training. I would say a less intensive training, or maybe even workshops that we offer. We oftentimes offer a refresher training for people that are already certified. We can offer a reframing training. These are, very truncated trainings. So maybe 1 hour to 2 hour trainings. There's no certification that comes out of that process. Perhaps you want to focus in a little bit more on, let's say, reframing. So you might come and take one of our hour-long reframing classes. Another thing that we have done in the past is community conversations. Not training, but there is a lot of value to sitting with a group of individuals or being on Zoom. In the past, we had done them on Zoom because this was during the pandemic, and those conversations are really valuable as far as building community and learning how to communicate, especially people who think differently than you. And so I would say those are the extent of the trainings.
Thank you. Do you have an estimate of how many cases CRI has helped resolve over the years?
So CRI was founded in 1990, so it's about to turn 35 this August. And I would imagine that just by the caseload we have now, and then also from what I've heard from other mediators, and then also looking back through some of our logs, we've probably mediated thousands of cases, and that's largely due to our involvement in the small claims court. So we run a small claims court mediation program at the Ventura County Superior Court in their small claims court division. It's been at least 2 decades that we have done that. So I would imagine just by the caseload that we are seeing, anywhere from 150 to 200 cases per year, times that by the 20 years that we've done that. And right now, our calendar, what I hear from other mediators who've been involved with the organization longer than that they were seeing pre-pandemic double the numbers that we're seeing. So I think it's safe to say that 200 cases multiplied by the number of years we have been around in the small claims court program. Let's just, if we're conservative about it, looking at 20 years, that's a lot of cases. So I would say in the thousands.
Volunteers play a crucial role in CRI. Can you highlight their contributions?
Wow. Our volunteers are our driving force. So we are a volunteer driven organization. Without our volunteers, we would lack the capacity to pull off our programs. I would say the program that has the most involvement from our volunteer base is a small claims court mediation program. That is made up of individuals who give their time twice per week for about 4-hour stints, once on a Monday and once on a Thursday, to come and work with the public in offering them free mediation. Without my volunteers, I would not be able to provide the quality of service or perhaps the quantity of service. Less mediators means less cases that we can do. And so in order to be a help to the court, the more volunteers we have, the more we can offset that burden of court cases for the court. So our volunteers are priceless to our organization. There have been amazing people that have been part of this organization that might no longer be part of it. And then there are those that have been. And with every new cohort, we do 3 trainings per year. And from that cohort comes volunteers who plug into our organization and stay with us for years to come. I am certainly grateful for our organization. I am a paid employee along with an administrative assistant, but everybody else in the organization is volunteer, including all of our board members. And so we're really fortunate to have such a huge base of volunteers. And I would say those volunteers are at, all ages, from 12, my daughter Matilda loves to come and volunteer for this organization. So, at least I know there's a 12-year-old, so that's the youngest. And then, up into the 80s.
What are the key skills that make a successful mediator, and how does CRI help develop them?
Successful mediators come in all shapes and sizes, and it also really just depends on what, I guess, your definition of success is. I would say that people who make great mediators are also good listeners. They have the ability to actively listen. They're not there to just pick out the issues and then fix them. They're actually listening for what's below the surface. And that is a skill set that is acquired. I think that comes natural to people in some professions. I see a lot of educators who have that skill. I see a lot of therapists and psychologists who have that skill. But that's not to say that people who are in those professions make better mediators than, say, attorneys or, waiters or waitresses or anything like that. But I think some of the critical skills, are listening skills, and then patience. Empathy is another skill that's really important to have. The reason for that is that we want to be able to understand the parties that we're working with. We want to understand where they're coming from, try and see from a bird's eye view, but then also understand the nuances. And it takes empathy to sit in front of someone or to sit with 2 people who you might completely disagree with their argument or their dispute they have between them. But it takes empathy to be able to sit there and listen and then to offer them a way out, right? To toss them a life vest and to say, hey, I'm going to help you guys swim to the shore. Right. So CRI helps develop these skills through our training, I would say. You come through our training, you're going to get certified as a mediator. But if you come on our volunteer pathway, which is our small claims court mediation program, where all of our participants are invited to mediate with us, you are going to get a lot of experience really quickly, and you're going to be able to develop those active listening skills. You're going to be able to develop those empathy skills. You're going to be able to develop your patience, your problem-solving skills, right? Your negotiation skills. And then what we also do for our volunteers is we offer refreshers. So about twice per year, I will do a mediation refresher for our volunteers. So I'll invite them to come back. And we really focus on a couple of the skills. Reframing and active listening are 2 that we focus on in that refresher. So there is support. We also will pre-brief and we also debrief. And then one of the things that we've talked a lot about doing is a anonymous debrief session, right? Where our mediators have an opportunity to talk about the cases that impacted them in a safe space, so long as facts and parties are being anonymized. And I think that would be really beneficial for our mediators to talk about ways they were impacted, things that went well, things that didn't go so well. And in that group setting, right, there's a lot to be learned there. So CRI helps develop these skills by just offering support, right? We realize that a lot of the skills that we talk about, you use them or you lose them. And the more you use them, the better you become at using them, right?
Thank you. How would you describe CRI's impact on the local community, and how does CRI as a nonprofit spark the community?
So CRI's impact on the local community, we are a community mediation center. We are grassroots. We are for the public, right? We offer free and low-cost mediation, so we're accessible. That's one impact we have on the community. Currently, we are able to offer some support in Spanish. There are some of our programs that have not yet been developed that are fully available to Spanish speakers, but we are getting there. We are moving towards that. But accessibility is a big one, and I think that has an impact on our local community because sometimes community members cannot access the programs that are really there that could be helpful to them, right? So, for example, if you take a neighbor-to-neighbor dispute, and if you get two neighbors sitting in a room with a neutral third party, the mediators, right, helping them have a conversation about how they can deal with the fence that exists between them and how that fence could, they can both give input into how they want to fix the fence or whatever issue surrounds this fence. This is just an example, right? If you can help those parties come to an agreement, you have helped them, but you've also helped their community. And so when we engage in community mediation, we're also recognizing that the stakeholders are not just the people who are directly involved in the conflict. There's also people that are indirectly involved. And that's our community members, right? So the more cordial and peaceful our community members are, that weaves its way into all aspects of our community. And so living in peace, having peaceful relationships, problem solving, those are skills that we share with other people. Those are skills that we are happy to promote, or those are points that we're happy to promote, right? And so CRI's impact on the local community is really in our ability to reach at a grassroots level and to encourage our community and empower them really to solve issues for themselves, right? Another thing that's really wonderful about the mediation process is that mediators we're problem solvers, right? We're peacemakers. But we're also there demonstrating a process that maybe let's just say two people are witnessing who have never seen what a peaceful process looks like. So you're also setting an example. And maybe we know that not all mediations end in quote unquote solutions. However, one of the benefits of mediation is that you have, as a mediator, have showed a more peaceful, collaborative way to settle issues to those parties. And that's another impact, right? Setting the example. And then how does CRI spark the community? Oh, that's a really good question. I think that like any organization, it has its sort of ups and downs and evolutions. And maybe at times our organization has not been well known in the community. We are well known in the court system because we have been involved in the court system for a long time. I would say we're fairly well known within the legal community here, and largely because mediation, while it's not a legal process, it oftentimes can go hand in hand or can be an alternative to the legal process. That's a lot of how it's pitched, but that's not just the extent of what mediation is or the space within which it can operate or be beneficial. So I say that to say, I think we spark the community and kind of, I don't want to use the term reinventing ourselves, but I think evolving with what our community needs. And I think that that's exciting. And right now we look at what's happening with Ventura County. What does our community need, right? We're facing a significant housing crisis. 50% of all the cases we do in CRI are landlord-tenant issues. So you can tell just by looking at our stats, the issues that the community is facing. And then that's exacerbated by the wildfires, right, that we have in our region. So you have displaced individuals, and then you have individuals who were already displaced because of high rents, further being displaced by survivors who might be able to afford to move into these more gentrified areas and pay rents that locals say couldn't pay. And so we have the ability to spark the community and evolving with what our community needs. And I think that, some people might look at a nonprofit and be like, well, that sounds a lot like reinventing yourself, every decade or every 5 years. I just see it as moving forward with the times and progressing and evolving with what our community needs. What are we giving to our community if they don't need our services? And so for me, it's important to provide a service that our community is saying, yes, like we need that and we need it, but here's what we need it to look like. And I'm totally open to that. And I want CRI to serve our community based on what they say they need.
Thank you. There you have it, folks. Brenna Furness. Stay tuned for the next episode all about Brenna and what got her into mediating with CRI. Thank you.